Okay, so this is some background information that we're going to use in your heads for the rest of the class. So I'm just going to give you some information as we go through the Ed puzzle. You'll answer questions. Nothing super crazy. So we start out on this page, and this is a map of ancient Rome at its peak. So the Roman Empire um, happened around the peak of the Roman Empire, happened around the year 117. Um, this abbreviates it as AD, which is the old way to do it. If you were to read a sixth grade history book now, it would say CE for current era. Um, but so around 117 is the peak of the Roman Empire. Um, this white here, where my mouse is the Mediterranean Sea. The red is the land that the people lived on. And like this is Europe that is today. This is Northern Africa. This is what we call the Middle East today. Right there, that's the Nile River. If you remember that from social studies classes, if you're learning about Mesopotamia right now, that's right over here, the Tigris and the Euphrates. So you can see there's like a ton of land that the Roman Empire controlled. And in all of this land, Latin was the official language of the Roman Empire. So people spoke, or at least had a clue on how to speak Latin, because that is how business was done in the Roman Empire. So all of this red, they spoke Latin. The next slide is the same map, except this time it has where people speak what we call Romance languages today are. So they're not like ooey gooey romance, like ooh, it's Romance as in the word Roman is in it. ROAM. No, I spelled that wrong. ROMANCE. Romance, Roman, because it comes from the Romans. So the circles and squares aren't perfect, but where the blue circle is where they speak French today. Where the green box is where they speak Spanish today. The orange is present day Portugal. The yellow is Italy, and the red is Romania. So that's where they speak Romance languages today. So you can hopefully see the correlation between how they speak Romance languages, where the land on this map is red, because that's where they used to speak Latin, because the Romance languages come from Latin, which this chart has here. So again, to summarize, in ancient Rome, people spoke Latin. Romance languages come from Latin. If we were to build like a family tree, like the mother is Latin, and then you've got the babies here: Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian. So let's take a look at where in the world those languages are spoken. I think I need to like turn the volume down a little bit because this one has some background music for us. I have no idea who this person is, but the video is good. I also have no idea what songs are playing because they're in the languages, so I hope they're not swearing. So this is Romanian. This is where Romanian is spoken. So Romanian is spoken here in this country, which is Romania, and then the country next door, Moldova. These green boxes are cities that have large populations of Romanian immigrants. So they speak Romanian there too. So there's a large amount of Romanian people that live in New York City and in Boston here in the US, and then of course in these other cities around the world. But countries that have Romanian as an official language is just Romania and this country next door named Moldova. The fourth most spoken Romance language is Italian. Italian is the official language here in Italy, and you can see there's a lot more Italian immigrants in all of these different cities. There's tons of Italian people that also have a knowledge of the language. French. So the French, as you'll see, with French, Spanish, and Portuguese, way back when they liked to colonize, where they showed up and they said, "This is our land now," and people are living there, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Not great. However, it occurred, and because of that, there's quite a few countries in the world that have French as an official language. So we'll start right here with France, and then countries next door. Switzerland, they speak French. It's an option, and in Belgium, it's an option to speak French too. Over here, we have Canada, and you can see the darker blue is Quebec. In Quebec, French is the official language. In the rest of Canada, English is the official language. Um, so it's shaded both of them because of that. Right here, this country, this half of the island is Haiti. The other half is the Dominican Republic. In Haiti, they speak French. Um, this country here, and all of these countries in Africa were once colonies of France, and because of that, a large amount of people in the countries know how to speak French, and it is one of their official languages, and in Madagascar too. The second most spoken language is Portuguese. Portuguese is spoken here in Portugal and in the country of Brazil. That is because way back when they were exploring, Brazil and Portugal basically got to the Americas first, and they were trying to claim places, and they couldn't figure out who would get what. So they went to the Pope because they're both Catholic countries. So they were like, "Hey, like in the name of Jesus, can you figure this out?" And he drew a line, and he said, "Brazil gets everything on this half, and Spain gets everything on this half." So the line roughly ran this way. So that's why you have some countries in Africa that speak Portuguese, where when we get to Spanish, there's basically no countries in Africa that speak Spanish. And you have Brazil here on the eastern coast of South America. Um, and Brazilians speak Portuguese. They do not speak Spanish. And our last one, the most spoken Romance language, is Spanish. It's not the most spoken language in the world, but the most spoken Romance language. So here we have Spain. And like I said, here's your line that the Pope drew, and everything on this side, Spain got to take control over. So we'll look at the specific Latin American countries later on in the quarter, but you have these countries in Central and South America that speak Spanish, and in the Caribbean too. Um, the map also highlights U.S. states that have large amounts of Spanish-speaking people. Whether people that are in the U.S. want to believe it or not, there are a lot of people that know how to speak Spanish, so they recognize that on this map, and that's Spain there. And lastly, we'll see the whole Romance language world. So like we said, all of these languages are related. So if you know one, it's very easy to learn or understand another one, which is why it's so important that you take a language. No matter which one you choose, it'll put you a step above people that don't know, not only for that language, but for all of the other Romance languages too. If you know Italian, then you can kind of understand Spanish. And if you know French, you kind of understand Italian. You might not be perfect at it, but you might be like, hey, I recognize that word. Like, I kind of know what's going on. So, like I said, no matter what language you take, it's important to just do it, to take one. Because as you can see throughout the world, there's a lot of people that know how to speak Romance languages. Now, a little fun part. Usually, if we're in class, this starts to come on, and I blast this through the Promethean boards. I'm certain that most of the teachers don't like me for it, but everybody, I love it. So, this is Portuguese. This is the flag of Portugal. This is Brazilian Portuguese. This is Catalan, which is a smaller language that we'll talk about more later. It's kind of like a mix between Spanish and French, and it's spoken in Barcelona. This is Romanian. It's the flag of Romania. Italian. This is Latin American Spanish, and they use the flag of Mexico to symbolize that, which isn't necessarily ideal, but I didn't make the video. This is French. And this is Spanish from Spain. Now it starts again. This is Portuguese. Brazilian Portuguese. Catalan. Romanian. Italian. Latin American Spanish. French. Spanish from Spain. Portuguese. And I prevented skipping, so you had to listen to that whole thing, so haha. We don't need that. This is, I just watched it, and this one also is good, but I won't make you watch it. I will post it separately in case you want to watch it. It's basically the same thing, except it's a song from Frozen 2. But it's well put together. The last thing that we're going to talk about is the European Union, the Schengen area, and the Eurozone. So if we were in school and it weren't a pandemic, we would do an activity with a puzzle. You'd put the puzzle pieces together and figure out what was part of each of these three things. So the Schengen area is an area in 26 countries that have free travel between them. You don't need any special paperwork or passport to live, work, or visit any countries that are a member of the Schengen area. So if you are from Italy and you want to go to vacation in Finland, you want to go skiing because the mountains in Italy aren't good enough for you, you want to go skiing in Finland, you can just go. Just like we do here in the 50 states, you can just go from place to place without having to worry about anything like that. as you hopefully know, if we as Americans wanted to go to any of these countries, we would have to have a passport or something like that. So you could go on vacation there, or like it says, you could even live there. Let's say that you're from Iceland and you're done with it being icy and you want to go live on the beaches in Spain as a beach bum, as a job. That's not a job, Matt. As a lifeguard, then you can just go and do that. You can be like, okay, I'm moving to Spain now. I'm done with the ice, even though Iceland's not really that icy, but that's not really the point. So the Schengen area, and here is a map with the puzzle. Oh, I'm in the way of the Schengen area. So the black here are countries that are not part of it. But these countries here are a part of it. So like you could literally, let's say you're from Portugal, you could, if you're a hiker, maybe you could hike all the way this way up to Estonia, because all of these you do not need a passport to go in between, which is pretty cool. Um, it's a cool thing that they have there. The European Union, I'm still in the way. I'm going to move myself over there now. The European Union consists of 27 countries. It had 28 until, what did I say? Did I say the UK? The EU, the European Union, consists of 27 countries. It had 28 until the UK left. Member countries signed treaties agreeing to work together under the same laws. It started after World War II to encourage cooperation in Europe rather than them being like, we have an argument, time for war. Because, after World War I and World War II, they were like, this isn't necessarily a great idea. So these 27 countries are members of the European Union or the EU. You might see on the news, it's a big deal how Britain is leaving the EU, Brexit. This is Britain now. It took the puzzle piece out because they're not a part of it. So they're leaving. So it's a big deal because they're the first country to ever decide to leave. All of the other countries are joining, like more and more countries want to join. One thing that if you're in the EU, you can do is you can become a member of the Eurozone, which is 19 countries that all use the same currency. So you could go from Austria to Ireland, not have to change your money. If we as Americans want to go anywhere else in the world, we have to change our money. We don't use American dollars in Canada. We don't use American dollars in Europe or the different countries in Africa or the Caribbean or Central and South America. We have to get new money. But these countries agreed to all use the same kind of money, so you don't need to get new money. This is what it looks like if we were in class. I have some, and we would play with it. So hopefully we'll get to go back and we can see it in person. But this is what it looks like. It's really colorful. They have different cent pieces than we do. They have a 1 cent, a 2 cent, a 5 cent, 10, 20, 50. And then they have a €1 coin and a €2 coin. So like we have a $1 bill, they don't have a bill that's a 1. The lowest bill is a 5. So if you wanted to pay for something that's €4, you could give them 2 of these coins, and they're like the size of a quarter. So this is the euro, and then this is the Eurozone, and these are the euros that we have. So here's the bills, and those are some of the coins that I threw in to the countries that don't use the euro. So if you're in Portugal and you decide to walk to Germany, because remember we said you could do that, or you could drive. That's probably a little more. Or you could even take a train, because then that you can just like sleep the whole way. That'd be nice. You don't have to get new money. You can just up and leave Portugal and go to Germany and be like, I've got enough money in my wallet and I don't have to do anything. So that is the Eurozone. Yeah, so that is some background information. Our main purpose, if there's one thing that I want you to take from this class, it is that all of these languages come from Latin and they are all related as Romance languages. They are all in the same family and they are all very similar. I want you to have dreams about this chart, or maybe nightmares. I don't know. But anyway, that is all. So this is your Anytime Learning for the week, and you're all set. Happy Thanksgiving. Actually, not happy Thanksgiving in case I use this in like February. Because if you're watching this in February, you're going to be like, there's no Thanksgiving coming up right now. I know I'm just going to end it now. That was a weird way to end. But see you in class. Deuces. Hide tools. No. Pause.